So, good day, hello. And perhaps this morning we are all both welcomed by each other, and we are the welcomers. And what a wonderful thing to be the welcomer and the welcomee together. And thank you for all being here and sharing this time with the Dharma, with the meditation. And one of the words that I will use for myself sometimes meditating, especially when my mind is busy and it's hard a little bit to get centered in the present moment, I'll tell myself in a gentle, open, undemanding way, I'll tell myself here, Here. And I see it as a reminder that I'm here and not where my thoughts are going and not somewhere else. And it's and when I say here, then in the wake of that simple word, simple reminder, I open in a sense, I open all my senses up to experience what it's like for this moment to be here. And sometimes it's hearing, sometimes it's sensing in my body, sometimes it's just knowing how active my thinking mind is. Here in the present is a mind that's filled with thoughts. But I'm not involved in those thoughts. It's kind of like I step back and I recognize, oh, this is what's happening here and now. And then in the wake of that lasts for a second or two or something before the thoughts take over or something, and then I'll gently say it again, here. And it's not a command like you'd give to a dog. It's more like an invitation or a welcoming into here. And it's quite special, quite wonderful to be here. But we want to be careful not to evaluate here by the circumstances we're in. Maybe you're in a wonderful circumstance. Maybe you're in a not so interesting place where you're meditating. But the wonderfulness of here is not the externals, not just the internal, but rather the way that awareness begins to grow and flower in the middle of here. And that the interaction, the mutuality of the place we're in, the experiences we're having here in our body and mind, and the awareness that meets it, that's the fully embodied here. And that is what can grow and develop. And it's like we're developing a capacity to be aware here. And this capacity is what starts to be becoming very special and rich and wonderful and a marvel. And the capacity to be here, there's many capacities we're developing in Buddhism, but one of them is to feel safe here. And maybe where you're sitting and meditating is a safe place, just for these moments that you're here. And maybe there's a lot of danger in your life, but here, maybe for these minutes, it's safe. And as the capacity of awareness grows, we're also developing that capacity to feel the present moment safety. But it isn't just a safety that's around us, but also the safety that we bring with us as awareness grows. The awareness itself develops a capacity for non-fear. The capacity for awareness grows and develops here. And it's this interaction between our inner capacity for feeling safe or having no fear that meets the environment that makes it rich and valuable. And at some point we realize that we have the ability to bring that non-fear, to bring that safety that's always here with us as we go into the world and go into the places where it's even dangerous. And so there's a different chemistry between the dangers in the world and ourselves because we develop this capacity, this ability to hold, to have space for, the ability, this inner strength to meet what's going on. So that's all to say that to say the word here, simple, relaxed, as an invitation for you to open to what is here, is a wonderful little practice. It's so rich, even though it's so simple. And the simpler you do it, the better. So as we sit today, we'll get started and do some of this basic, usual, getting settled. And then at some point, you might want to, on your own, just in a nice, rhythmic, relaxed way, tell yourself the word here, a soft little whisper in the mind. And in the wake of that saying that, to be present for what's here. Take in more fully. And take in the breathing, the body, the feelings, the emotions, whatever it is that shows itself, that appears in the wake of here. So assuming a comfortable meditation posture, and making sure that it's not only comfortable, but also that the posture will express alertness in some way, a certain vitality, physical vitality that supports being here, present. And if it's comfortable, you can close your eyes and gently take some deeper breaths, maybe 3/4 full, but deep enough so you have to do it consciously. And that consciously breathing deeper is a way of being more fully here, so that your mind is not so much drifting off in thought. And then a longer exhale than usual. Not so you get winded or it's a strain, but maybe a little bit at the end of the exhale. Exhale more. At the end of the exhale, pause ever so slightly, maybe saying the word here, and feel your experience in that fraction of a moment of pausing. And then you take a deep breath in. Pause ever so slightly on the top of the inhale. Here, in that pause. And then to let your breathing return to normal. And taking just a few moments to scan through your body, to relax any holding, tension in your body, the face, the shoulders, the belly. And then again, attune yourself to the experience of the body breathing. at the end of the exhale, maybe have an ever so slight pause in which you say gently, softly, the word here. And in this cycle of breathing in, breathing out, perhaps a infinitesimal pause, being here for your breathing. Is there any point in the cycle where you feel safe, feel an assurance, or a lack of anxiety or fear? Or the place in the cycle where there's the least fear, or the most sense of safety? And if there is such a place in the cycle, or is such a feeling in your body anywhere, gently, softly say here with it. Here, and then feel it more fully. Increasing your capacity to be here without fear. here. Here being like a drop of water landing in the middle of the pond, and the ripple of awareness spreads about the pond of our life, silently, openly. And then as we come to the end of a sitting, perhaps to appreciate that as we develop our capacity to be here, recognize that this is an inner capacity of awareness of our whole system, psychophysical system, being able to be present for present moment experience. And that capacity is closely related to our capacity to be without fear, to feel safe, safe enough to feel our fear, where that which is without fear knows if we are afraid. And that capacity to be fearless, to be without fear, to feel safe, is a profound form of trust, trusting that can be a gift that we provide others. That the more we know how to feel safe, safety we carry with us everywhere, the more we can offer that safety to others. We can be reassuring to others. They have nothing to fear from us, but more than that, they recognize, maybe they'll recognize that they are able to relax their fear. They can be more at ease. And may it be that this practice of mindfulness that we do, that it develops our capacity to share our absence of fear with others. That it shares our ability to be present in a way where no one needs to be afraid of us. And may it be this practice spreads out into the world a greater assurance, reassurance for others that they too can begin to relax, be at ease. May the extension or the influence of our practice spread out into the world in known and unknown ways to bring greater happiness and well-being, greater safety and peace, and greater freedom of heart to all beings everywhere. May all beings feel safe. May all beings be happy. So good morning and good day. Continue today with a second talk on faith in Buddhism, Buddhist practice. And it's often that's a common translation of Saddha, S-A-D-D-H-A. And one translation I like for that Pali word is trust. And it's the word trust is, the concept of trust is one that I feel very, feels something very deep inside of me, or very rich and valuable. And in some ways I feel more connected to trust than I do to the word faith. Both words I love, and and I feel like the trust speaks a little bit more to me to a capacity, an inner kind of quality of heart that we're evoking in practice. That the word faith is a little bit still residual association I have in English, that it has a little bit to do with a belief system that we have, and maybe a little bit more intellectual than something that's more embodied and more connected maybe to our emotional life. And so trust, and to be able to live in trust, if we trust someone else or trust something, that I associate that with living without fear. This thing that I trust, I don't have to be afraid of. And so a faith, a trust that is felt as a deep sense of safety, or an absence of fear at least, and kind of an assurance, a deep assurance. And some of this is a capacity we can develop, the capacity to be without fear, the capacity to feel safe. And that's an important thing to appreciate, because if we only know how to be safe by rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic, then, it's not going to make us so safe. And some people feel like they have to just arrange everyone else and arrange everything and system and everything, so everything's lined up, so then they can feel safe. But the problem with that is it might work for a moment, but things are always shifting and changing, and then we have to do it more again. Or the other thing that sometimes happens, the very effort to control other people or get other people to behave a certain way so I can feel safe, creates a kind of alienation, a separation that can't do that, that actually doesn't really work. And we can't really become safe when we're kind of forcing or requiring other people to be a certain way for our sake. And maybe that's not the best way to find safety in relationship. And one of the things human beings are capable of is developing and growing the inner feeling of trust, the inner capacity for being without anxiety and fear, the inner capacity to not to be free in a way that we're not as affected by the things of the world. Maybe we're more porous, and things don't hit our identity, or what we're holding on to as my ego, as me, myself, and mine. Or maybe there's not the contraction of fear that world events hits inside of us, and so we're not impacted as much by those in some heart way. So we develop a capacity of trust, a capacity of safety inside. And so some of that has to do with the Buddhist idea of cultivation. A very important part of Buddhism is to develop, cultivate all kinds of inner strengths. One of those strengths is faith. Another is a strength of engagement, of practice, of efforting, to be able to do and engage. The other is mindfulness itself can become a strength. Our ability for concentration, for stability, for steadiness can become stronger and stronger. And our capacity for wisdom, for discernment, for seeing clearly what's going on can be developed. And as these inner strengths grow, that reinforces faith, reinforces trust, reinforces our capacity to feel like we're capable of holding and being with what's there. I love the word capacity, developing our capacity, because it has two meanings in English, for me. One is that it's an ability to do something. And some people, they say that they have great capacity means they have a great ability to do certain things. But another meaning of capacity is that it's like the capacity of a container to hold liquid water. A little teaspoon can hold a little bit of water, contain a little bit of water, A cup can contain more water. A gallon jug contains more. A lake will contain much more water, and an ocean contains even more. So the capacity to hold something can grow and develop. And so our capacity for our awareness, our mind, to our heart, to be aware of things without contracting, without reacting, without getting afraid, but to be able to hold it with some freedom or some equanimity, that can grow as these inner qualities develop and get stronger. And the advantage of that is that then we'd bring our safety with us, because certainly there's dangers in the world, but we have this, we've developed something powerful inside. We're less affected by it. We're less fragile. What goes on around us. And some of that is faith, developing faith as a power, trust as a power, that we have this deep reassurance that our life is supported in a way that is significant, helpful, valuable, so that that reassurance, that trust, means that we're not so caught up and concerned with the details of what happens. That recently I lost something, and something that was kind of important. I have hearing aids, so I thought I lost my hearing aids. And I think years ago, when I would have lost something like this, I would have gotten quite anxious and afraid. And now I lost them. I looked for them, and I had this reassurance, simple reassurance and trust that I can figure out what to do from there. I can find my way, and have to, I'll get new ones. I did find them eventually, but it's a simple, maybe silly example of developing a capacity to be able to deal with some difficulty that in the past wouldn't have been so easy, but now I have this equanimity and peace around it. And so this faith quality, this trust, is one of the really valuable things in Buddhism, is to trust the practice. That the practice of mindfulness, the practice of meditation, the practice of kindness, compassion, these practices are powerful and valuable, and to have enough experience of practicing with them to feel confident these work. But confident they work, they support us in many ways. But one of the ways is that we know we had enough experiences with them that we're confident, even if I don't know what needs to happen here, even if I don't know how to find my way, I have these practices that can keep me safe, keep me without fear, keep me at ease. It can support the situation to unfold in a healthy and good way. That somehow the situation will find itself, the way forward and the way out of the challenge that exists. And so I have this deep trust in the practice. And maybe eventually the trust in practice is greater than the trust in anything else. Certainly greater than the trust that it says on the US dollar bills, where in God we trust. How many of you trust, money more than, anything else? But to trust yourself more than anything, to trust the practice, I mean, not yourself so much, but the practice. In fact, at some point there's a shift where the practice helps us not to be so caught in me, myself, and mine, and we're no longer at the center of the play of our life, the drama of our life, because now the practice is at the center, and that's such a liberating thing to have happen. Related to the practice is trusting the Dharma. Not the Dharma as teaching so much, but that there's something that's transpersonal operating here, something that's not about me, myself, and mine. Maybe it's within us, but there's a inner wisdom, an inner process, an unfolding, a movement towards freedom that operates, that is natural, and operates independent of the ego, independent of my self-preoccupation and self-concern in a certain way. So some people might call it transpersonal, even though it's maybe within the psychophysical body. And so to begin having faith or trust in something which is within us, but it's not what you identify with as yourself. This is a great freedom. And to know that and develop it gives a lot of assurance. So faith as trust, and trust as a power that we carry with us. And it's the power of being without fear. And certainly we want it to be together with wisdom, the power of wisdom, so we don't do foolish things without the absence of fear. But to feel safe, to have this deep abiding feeling of safety that we carry with us, that's not easily threatened by what happens around us, allows us to then offer the gift of safety, the gift of fearlessness to others, that they have nothing to fear from us. And perhaps we can be reassuring presence in this world. And finally, I'll say that the word for being for assurance, for reassurance, in the ancient Pali language, is the literal meaning of it is to breathe easily. And so may we all find the ability to trust in such a way, to have faith in such a way, that we can breathe easily going through our lives. Thank you.